When Franklin Roosevelt died in April of 1945, Truman had only been vice president for a few weeks. Roosevelt had barely included him in any major wartime planning. Truman later said that when he learned Roosevelt was dead, it felt like the moon, the stars, and all the planets had fallen on him. And then came the briefing. Within months, he made a decision that changed human history forever: the atomic bomb. The end of World War II, the future of Europe, the beginning of tensions with the Soviet Union. Not exactly an ideal first week on the job. Now, Truman remains controversial because of his decision to use the atomic bomb. Supporters argue it prevented an invasion of Japan that could have killed hundreds of thousands, perhaps even millions. Critics argue it crossed a terrifying new threshold, not because civilians hadn't been targeted before. Dresden and Tokyo had already shown that. But because humanity had now created a single weapon capable of destroying an entire city in moments. Either way, Truman understood something many leaders try to avoid. Sometimes presidents face choices where every option carries horror with it. And Truman, he made the decision. But his presidency didn't stop with World War II. He also helped shape the entire Cold War era. The Truman Doctrine committed the United States to resisting Soviet expansion. The Marshall Plan helped rebuild Western Europe after the war. When the Soviet Union blockaded Berlin, Truman organized the Berlin Airlift, one of the great logistical achievements of the 20th century. No dramatic invasion, no nuclear showdown, just tired people continuing to show up day after day to keep an entire city alive. Now, personally, Truman was blunt, stubborn, loyal, and surprisingly complicated politically. He first rose through the Kansas City machine of Tom Pendergast, which sounds bad because honestly, much of it was bad. Corruption and patronage were deeply woven into urban politics at the time. But Truman himself developed a reputation for personal honesty inside a system that often lacked it. That awkward tension followed him for years, a machine politician whom many people genuinely trusted. So what do we do with Truman? He reminds us that history sometimes elevates ordinary-looking people into extraordinary circumstances. Truman lacked Roosevelt's polish and grand presence, but in moments of crisis, steadiness can matter more than style.